I work for TSA.
I have a beef about the TSA. I'm taking off my shoes.
He likened himself as a comedian. He tells jokes that offends. He told one joke about never having the opportunity to shoot a black man yet.
That was a joke.
I'm one of the best rappers in the DC area, and she knows that, so she was like, all right, she saw like a cast, like green.
Okay.
I might be the best, Your Honor.
Yeah.
Excuse me?
To be honest.
Plaintiff Floyd says he and the defendant had a father-son relationship, but that fell apart when the defendant failed to repay a personal loan. He's suing for $5,000. Defendant Thomas Magaha says he was in dire straits when the plaintiff gave him a cash gift to help him keep going.
This is case number 226 on the docket, Floyd versus Magaha.
We have Mr. Floyd.
Yes, sir.
And you are suing, what you say here, your friend, Mr. Magaha?
Yes, sir.
For $5,000 for a personal loan that you want repaid.
Yes, sir. Magaha was more than just a friend. He was like my work son.
Oh,
You know,
okay.
In fact, he called me Pops at work, and
Very nice.
I introduced him as my son. He introduced me as his father.
Yes.
All right?
I don't see the resemblance, but...
We met while I was working.
I'm being silly. Go ahead.
I know, sir, and I'm enjoying it. But we met while I was working at the airport. I worked for TSA.
Yes.
And he was the airport policeman.
Yeah. I have a beef about the TSA.
And I could probably solve that for you, sir.
Okay, so when you're 75, you don't have to take your shoes off anymore.
Right.
So I'm going through the airport a couple of months ago. Mind you, I was still 74. And the guy just says to me, as I start taking off my shoes, you don't have to take off your shoes. I didn't tell him I was 75. And I thought he's saying you don't have to take off your shoes because, oh, you're Jerry Springer, you know. I watch your show all the time. And so I figure, no, that's okay, I'll take off. And then he points to the sign that says 75 years old, you don't have to take off your shoes. No, I'm offended. Like I said, I'm taking off my shoes. I just had to get rid of that, okay.
I'm glad
no, I'm
you
okay,
did.
go ahead with your case.
So as I was saying, we worked together for several years. After I retired, I read something on Facebook or somewhere saying that he had been fired at the airport. Well, I figured it was about the same stuff that it had been, you know, because he'd been in a little trouble once before, you know, about the films that he make. And he likened himself as a comedian. He tells jokes that offends people. In fact, he told one joke about never having the opportunity to shoot a black man yet. And
That was a joke?
That's taken out of context, Your Honor. That's not how that joke went.
But this is the joke that he told, and a lot of my co-workers got very offended by it, and they went to the chief, etc. And I spoke up for him, you know.
Okay.
And I backed him
But
up.
that's why you were fired?
No, sir. Actually, the reason I was fired is, you know, chasing that dream as being an actor and a comedian. I did a scene in a show that's filmed in our area. You actually have a clip of it if you want to take a look at it.
All right, let's take a look at it.
Jamar Jones, put your hands up. Stop moving, hands up.
You got the wrong man. I didn't...
No, please, please don't shoot him. Jamar, please, do everything they ask you to do, please. Please don't shoot him, please, no. Please don't shoot him, please. Please don't shoot him. No.
Stop reaching.
No.
Shots fired, shots fired.
What's funny about that?
No, that's nothing funny about that. And right after that aired all over social media, Michael Brown happened. And I mean, I got treated different at work. I mean, like he said, people didn't want to sit with me to eat. They didn't want to communicate with me. Even calling for backup. I didn't get very much help at all, period.
Your Honor, you have to understand that, though, after this joke had already appeared on YouTube and Facebook, the joke about not having an opportunity to kill a black man yet. He was chastised about that.
But, Your Honor, that's not how the joke
went.
went.
This comes afterwards. This comes afterwards.
The joke was, you know, it's hard as a police officer to pursue his career. It seems like today you have to shoot a black guy just to get ahead in this game. It was a joke making fun of police officers, and it was taken out of context by most of my white friends. My black friends
How do you
actually
take that out of context?
Yeah.
Again,
okay.
it was a poor taste for a joke before anything happened, and then of course the situation with Michael Brown happened.
The actual reason you got fired from the police department because you were wearing the actual police uniform. Even if that never happened, that was such poor taste for a joke. Real lives are affected by that.
Most definitely.
That was horrible. You sued him because he owes you money. What happened?
Right. He gave me a call November 11th, and he asked where I lived, and I gave my address, and he came over to the house. At that time, we sat around and we talked about his problems. You know, he was telling me that he needed money. He'd been fired. It's hard to find a job. His wife was talking about leaving him. He wasn't able to pay his rent. At this time, all I did was try to assist him in finding a job.
That's not true, Your Honor.
Okay, finish with your story, then I'm going to give you a chance.
At this time, I tried to assist him in finding a job. He texted me and asked me if he could have a loan.
Okay, let me see the copy of that text.
I didn't ask for a loan. I told him the situation. He offered money.
This is the defendant saying, Pops, if I did a loan with you, what do I need to make this happen? I hate to ask, but this is me putting the pride out. And then you said, well, you could have asked me this before you left. How much do you need? Well, I did want to ask, but I am at an end and have nowhere to go. And then you say, how much? And then what did you say?
He came back over to the house, and in person, he told me $8,000.
$8,000. Okay. But here you're asking him for a loan.
I wasn't. There was never a loan.
Pops, if I did a loan with you, what do I need to make this happen? So you call him and you go back over. So it's hard to say that you didn't know that you were going to his house to see if he could give you a loan. I mean, that's what the words say. So he comes back to your house. You guys talk about it. He's got to get back on his feet. You're being really nice to him. You want to help him, you're saying. And so you gave him a loan for $8,000. Did you give him in cash? Did you write a check?
I wrote him a personal check.
Okay, if I could see a copy of that.
On the check, I also wrote loan.
Ooh.
Thank you.
This was a verbal agreement that we had with each other. So when he offered the money, again, I'm in a desperate situation. I'm about to lose everything. My wife's talking divorce. I've got 6 kids, and I was like, I'm struggling.
I understand that, and I'm not making fun of that at all. People have tough situations in their lives. I get that. But the question we're dealing with here is this $8,000, which both of you agreed it was $8,000. That's not in dispute.
That's right.
As I understand it, the only question in dispute is you're saying it was a gift, and he's saying it was a loan.
I consider this man a father. Do you, as a father, do you loan your child money, or do you give him money? And that's how I took that.
You're a grown-up, and many times an adult parent will loan, particularly if they're getting older and they're getting near retirement, they will loan money to their adult children, and it's a loan. Now, I understand why you didn't want to say no to it, because you did need the money, but there is no possible way you cannot interpret this, not just through the text and you going back to it, but on the check it said loan. You're a grown-up. Documents mean something. You owe him the money. You need to pay him back. What is difficult to understand about that?
Your Honor, if I
Go ahead.
Like I said, this man to me, I didn't have a good father growing up, so this man was that father figure. I just took this man, he cared about me, and I'm still trying to get on my feet. I'm doing better now. I've got a better situation.
You can talk to him and say, can you give me some time to pay back? I tell you what if I just send you $200 a month or $500 or whatever it is? You work that out. But the issue before me in this court is whether or not he loaned you the money. If he loaned you the money, you're obligated to pay him back. How you pay him back, what time frame, whether it's individual payments, whether it's a lump sum, you guys can work that out. All right? Here's what I'm deciding. You owe the plaintiff $8,000.
Why would you call me a thief and stuff on Facebook? I mean, I thought we were a little better than that.
I've got nothing to say to this young man for the rest of my life. Sons don't steal from fathers.
There was a verbal agreement. There was nothing put in paper. He might have wrote that down, but you know, text messages can be altered. You know, he belittled me on Facebook, calling me a thief. I wasn't trying to steal from him, and like he said, we were family. I felt like he was my father. I called him Pops. The love is gone.
Plaintiff Judy Obiarinze is suing the defendant for $2,500 for a personal loan she gave him to jumpstart the defendant's rap career. Defendant Egei claims the plaintiff was investing in his career, and since he didn't make any money, he owes her nothing.
It's case 16 on the docket. Obiarinze versus Egei.
We have the plaintiff here. You are suing the defendant in the amount of $2,250. You say $1,000 for the breach of contract, $1,000 for emotional distress, and $250 for interest.
Correct.
Okay, what is your story?
Okay. Well, to give you a background, me and this individual over here, we've known each other since we were about in middle school. We're all pretty much family friends. We all
Childhood
grew up together.
friends grow up together.
Yes.
Good.
Long story short, he basically came up to me requesting a business loan.
For what business?
He's into music.
Yeah.
He wanted the investment loan to help to create a music video and also to create a website to help his brand.
And what kind of music?
I do hip hop, sir.
Oh, you do hip hop.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
He requested a loan of $2,500.
To help his career in.
Yes. Anyone who knows me knows that I'm a very giving individual. And at the time, I was cool with him. So if I can help you make your dreams come true, why not?
Well, very nice. Okay.
So I loaned him the money, and he's the one who drafted the contract. So the contract stated that he would pay me $6,000 because he believed that he would blow up as soon as he released the music video and started selling merchandise on this website he planned to create.
It didn't so happen as I went to her looking for a loan. Literally, I was at their family house, which is in the neighborhood, you know,
Yes.
eating food, chilling like I usually do on weekends. The conversation comes up about my music. Judy, you know, is like, oh, I'm looking to invest in things. You know, she's very flaunty. She likes to dress well, as you can see, you know. So she's like, all right, well, I'm looking to invest in something. I said, well, why not invest in me? Like, I'm one of the best rappers in the D.C. area, and she knows that. So she was like, all right. She saw like a cast, like green.
Okay, you're saying that you're one of the best rappers in the D.C. area.
I might be the best, Your Honor.
Yeah.
Excuse me?
To be honest.
Well, we're kind of used to not everything coming out of Washington, D.C. being honest.
That's a good one, Jerry.
Yes. What I'd like to do now is, well, let's see that. I understand we have the video.
Yeah, I brought some, so.
And you go by the name of?
Botimi Freed.
Botimi Freed. Why is she going to invest in someone whose career's gone down the toilet?
Exactly.
No, I started from the toilet. That's a start. Now I'm going up to the top.
I see.
That's where you finish it
But you
off.
didn't make $6,000.
And here's why.
Why?
And I'm glad you said that, Judge Jerry. So the money that she gave me, I had actually, you know, took it out for cash out of the bank, talking to a videographer, cinematographer, talking to the studio. I'm about to start moving this money so we can get going. So like an idiot, I leave it in my car, right? I get up the next morning, go into my car. My gold chain is missing. All the money's gone. I'm distraught. Like, I'm in my neighborhood walking around, like, looking at people like, who took my money? Like, who went into my car? So with that being said, nothing ever came of that money. It was not used for the purposes. And I feel like a victim. Like, I was hurt.
The original contract he drafted, he said that within a certain date, which was
Do
March.
we have a copy of the original contract?
I do have the copy of
A signed copy?
Yes, this is the signed contract.
Signed contract by both parties.
Correct.
So I have here then, let me just for a second take a look at this signed contract.
That he created.
This contract says a loan. The loan will be repaid in full on March 24th,
date that he picked.
Okay, well, let me read you exactly what
Okay,
that
go
paragraph
ahead.
says.
No problem.
I'm not arguing. I'm just so we all understand what we're dealing with here. The lender, which is you,
Correct.
promises to loan $2,500 to the borrower, which is you, and the borrower, you, the defendant, promises to repay the amount $6,000 made by the business venture and 20% of every dollar amount made over $6,000 during the duration of the loan period, which ends on March 24th, 2018. But in the event that the venture does not profit what is forecasted at the end of the loan period, then the lender will accept the minimum amount of the initial loan being $2,500 as satisfactory repayment.
Correct.
Here's the deal. If there was no contract, then there would be a fair question whether the amount she gave you was a loan or whether it was an investment, as you called it. The thing is, if it's an investment, by definition, there's a risk.
Right.
And then you would be right. If it was an investment, she's investing in you, taking the risk that maybe you'll hit it big and maybe you won't. You can lose money on an investment. The problem for you is that this contract, a legitimate contract signed by both of you, takes it out of the investment category. It is now officially a loan, which you even call it a loan, because there is a particular payback date of a particular amount, and that the particular amount of $2,500 would be repayment of the loan. You paid her $1,500, so I see that you still owe her $1,000. Now, you are also suing for emotional distress, etc.
Correct.
Right. Obviously, there's distress,
I'm
otherwise
distressed.
you wouldn't.
I mean-
Let me finish. Obviously, there's distress for a lot of people involved in a lawsuit. You wouldn't be in court if there was no distress. So I am saying you are entitled to the money back that you paid him. I can't go with your argument on the investment because the signed contract specifically outlines what the loan is. And based on that, my award is to the plaintiff for $1,000.